Well, Joe Biden fully intends to sideline Donald J. Trump. In fact, right now, his administration is doing everything in their power to handcuff, if you will, Donald Trump and all of his cabinet members. They are working right now behind the scenes to make that happen, to make him basically as lame of a duck president as he can possibly be. This is complete insanity, and no administration who has left office has done as much damage as Joe Biden has done and is doing the things that Joe Biden is doing right now to try to circumvent Donald Trump's presidency. So this is a huge red alert, and this video needs to be shared far and wide because there is so much going on behind the scenes that, of course, is being ignored by the mainstream media because they are in the pocket of the Democrat globalist party, right? But take a look at what I'm talking about. And I'm going to start here. And this isn't the only way that they are trying to handcuff and sideline Donald J. Trump and his administration. There's a lot. Okay, so please bear with me in today's broadcast. But this is on Politico, and this just recently was released on December 4th. But Biden White House is discussing preemptive pardons for those in Donald Trump's crosshairs. Joe Biden's senior aides are conducting a vigorous internal debate over whether to issue preemptive pardons to a range of current and former public officials who could be targeted with President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House, according to senior Democrats familiar with the discussions. Biden aides are deeply concerned about a range of current and former officials who could find themselves facing inquiries and even indictments, a sense of alarm which has only accelerated since Trump last weekend announced his appointment of Kash Patel to lead the FBI, which I absolutely back. By the way, I am excited and stoked about Kash Patel in the FBI. But the article goes on to mention this. It says the White House officials, however, are carefully weighing the extraordinary step of handing out blanket pardons to those who've committed no crimes. There's an issue with that, by the way, but both because it could suggest impropriety, only fueling Trump's criticisms, and because those offered preemptive pardons may reject them. Now, it goes on to state this, that those who could face exposure include such members of Congress J6 committee, such as Select-elect Adam Schiff, former GOP Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming, and Trump has previously said Cheney should go to jail along with the rest of the unselect committee. And they also mentioned Biden's pardon for Anthony Fauci. So those are the three people that they mentioned specifically in this article. But thus far, the White House has refused to decline to comment on that article, but they did not deny that the discussions were going on. The problem with this, right, is it's never been done in history at all. These blanket pardons that Joe Biden is giving out is unheard of. The one that he gave to his son, where basically for 10 years, he's forgiven of any and all crimes during that 10-year period, which just so happens to line up with when he joined Burisma's board there in 2014, all the way through December, I think it was 1st, 2024. The only reason you would do that is to protect yourself and probably even Obama. So I believe Joe Biden did it that way to protect him and Biden in the long run, because the Lord only knows that if Hunter Biden did come out and start sharing information, good old daddy's name would come up. So it's very likely, I believe, this is my thought process, that Hunter Biden basically told his daddy, if you don't pardon me, I'm going to come forward with some information. And of course, he gets this blanket pardon. But now they're talking about doing it to other people who have committed no crimes, by the way. This Derek Wang on X actually had a really good statement about it, and I'm going to share it with you. But preemptive pardon has never been used in the history, and I think it will likely be challenged and be decided by the Supreme Court, which I agree. It should be decided by the Supreme Court if Joe Biden does do this. But here he references Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, right? And basically what it says is that he shall have power, talking about the president shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the U.S. Offenses against. It does not say potential offenses. It says offenses, as in things that have already happened. The word clearly indicates the offenses that are already determined by court legally, not any potential offenses to be determined in the future. And that's the problem with these kinds of pardons that he's trying to hand out, right? He's trying to say, oh, we're just going to do these pardons for Fauci and Liz Cheney and Adam Schiff and who, Lord only knows who else. But no crimes have been committed. So what pardon is needed? The problem is there are crimes that some of these people did commit. In fact, there have been calls for them to go to jail, as they referenced. Donald Trump called that for Liz Cheney. And here Donald Trump is on his Truth Social page calling for that. They should go to jail for the rest of the she should go to jail along with the rest of the Unselect committee. And he's talking about Liz Cheney here. And of course, Adam Schiff was part of that Unselect committee. Then we also have this. MAGA calls for Liz Cheney to be jailed, guilty of treason. So obviously there have been calls, but the problem is there are some crimes that were actually committed. One of those crimes is January 6th committee there failed to preserve their documents, right? As a quick reminder, they were told to preserve them, and they're not preserved. So J6 committee failed to preserve records, have no data on Capitol Hill security failures, GOP charges. And this was published on Fox News, right? Not only that, but we also have potential crimes, if you will, by Liz Cheney herself. Here, this is on the house.gov, their press release. New texts reveal Liz Cheney communicated with Cassidy Hutchinson about her select committee testimony without Hutchinson's attorney's knowledge, despite Cheney knowing it was unethical. Completely unethical for Cheney to go directly to a source there and talk about these things that went on with January 6th, but yet that's exactly what she did. In fact, I had a whole slew of notes that I was going to bring up, but I don't want to get into that because there's more pressing information that I want to cover. But the truth of the matter is there's some questionable things. If there was indeed a crime committed, then she should have to suffer the consequences like every other American. And if there are crimes that Anthony Fauci committed, which I believe he did, then I too believe that Anthony Fauci should go to prison or jail or whatever to answer for those crimes. If you didn't do a crime, why worry about it, right? Here we have this. Washington Examiner Rand Paul has called for Fauci to go to prison over his COVID dishonesty. Then we also have Rand Paul also asked the DC U.S. attorney to probe Fauci for lying to Congress about U.S. funded COVID research in Wuhan. And that was on the New York Post. The other was on the Washington Examiner. So there are calls right now for Anthony Fauci to go to prison. But you know what? Here's the thing. The Joe Biden administration, that's not the only things that they are doing, talking about handing out potential blank pardons and preemptive pardons. That's not all. That's not the only way they're trying to stop Donald Trump. In fact, there's a lot more. But before I get into that, I want to remind you, get to restrictedrepublic.com. We've got some mega stories that we are putting out. You can see some of the exclusive ones. You're not getting these on any other platform. They're exclusive to Restricted Republic. Right now, use the coupon code LISA and the number 5. Get it for $5 per month. That's less than a cup of coffee. Remember, the information on these alternative platforms is controlled and they are very censored. Go get the real information of what's truly going on. Sign up for Restricted Republic. Use that coupon code LISA5 to take advantage. Now, here are some other ways that the Biden administration is attempting to sideline and handcuff, metaphorically, Donald J. Trump from doing anything. We have this, the Washington Examiner, Biden moves to protect federal workers from Trump deep state purge. Now, this was posted back in April of 2024, but basically, any future administration determined to politicize the federal workforce, which is exactly what Joe Biden has done, will not be able to randomly fire career civil servants without cause under new regulations that were proposed by the NTEU and finalized today by the Office of Personnel Management. The union said, with these regulations, Biden's administration has strengthened the guardrails around the merit-based civil service. Now, that's just a really brief from that article about what that entails. But basically, they're trying to stop Donald Trump from the ability to fire people, right? And he's going to use that Schedule F. He needs to reignite that Schedule F and get that done. Just my opinion. Now, He will still be able to fire them, but he's going to have to work around a lot of red tape in order to do it. But Biden has taken it yet another step further just this week, right? Take a look at what I'm talking about here. And this is on Bloomberg. And by the way, I have not heard a lot of people talking about this on these alternative media sites as well. But Bloomberg, thousands of federal employees land work from home deal ahead of Donald J. Trump, right? And here's what it says. A Biden administration appointee has agreed to lock in hybrid work protection for tens of thousands of Social Security staff as part of a slew of organized labor efforts that complicate President-elect Donald Trump's efforts to reshape the federal workforce. The American Federation of Government Employees, a union representing 42,000 Social Security Administration workers, reached an agreement with the agency last week that will protect telework until 2029 in an updated contract, according to a message to its members viewed by Bloomberg. And then it goes on to say this. And under those current arrangements, in-office requirements range from just 2 to 5 days per week. So these people are getting a free pass to basically work from home a majority of time and have this hybrid work in order to circumvent Donald Trump from the ability to do his job and do what he needs to do. And meanwhile, your tax-paying dollars are paying for them to be hybrid. See how that works? It's kind of a big FU to the American people. You and I am one of the few that get to work from the home, and I'm very blessed by it. I have my studio here in the office, but that's not the case for everyone. We're going to use our tax dollars to allow these people to work from home just to circumvent the president. This is some mean stuff going on. And the only person I actually did hear talking about that was Kash Patel, which is why I'm so excited. But that's not all they're trying to do. In fact, there's an entire article on U.S. News, I'm going to bring that up, that talks about how they can circumvent Trump. And this is really important to get this video out. And by the way, please make sure here on YouTube that you are subscribed to my channel. Hit that sub button, even if you've subscribed before, because they have been unsubbing people from my channel and they have no idea that that's happened. So make sure you're still subscribed. Better yet, go to Rumble. I'm under Restricted Republic at Rumble and subscribe to me there as well. But with that, here, this is the usnews.com article, and it says how to stop Trump before he stops. There are tools Biden and Senate Democrats can use in the next 2 months to limit Donald Trump. Again, I want to emphasize, none of this has ever happened before in any other presidential term leaving office. Even a lot of them didn't go to the levels that Joe Biden is going to. But anyway, here's the things that they talk about in this article, right? Biden has already acted to protect his money pit, or his money love, and where all the stuff happened with his son, the little precious Ukraine, as much as he can from Trump's virtual promise to sell Ukraine out to Vladimir Putin's Russia, which is not what he said, by the way. But anyway, he's already, and they're bragging about this, he's already lifted restrictions on Ukraine so they can launch our U.S. missiles into Russian territory, which, by the way, Vladimir Putin said if we did that, it would ignite World War III. So now we're looking at World War III, and U.S. News is bragging about this? Excuse me, go to hell, U.S. News, because I sure the hell don't want to go to World War III, but they're bragging as if this is something good that Joe Biden has done. This is insane. But anyway, he also agreed to send U.S. landmines, another step to World War III, and allow military contractors to deploy to Ukraine. We are seconds away from more because of these very acts. This isn't a bragging point, but the only reason apparently they're doing it is to circumvent Donald J. Trump. That's BS. At your risk and at my risk and the risk of our military personnel, the risk of our sons and daughters going to war. He didn't care so much. Neither does U.S. News. This is why these mainstream media sources are becoming irrelevant. And of course, he can follow up by delivering as much aid and as much weapons as possible. Thankfully, Mike Johnson has just come out and said, we're not sending any more aid to Ukraine. We shouldn't have sent any money to Ukraine recently, right? None. I just want to stay out of the damn thing, right? But anyway, that's one of the ways that U.S. news and mainstream media is saying he can circumvent Trump. Another way is what I talked about in the beginning of this video. Biden should also wield his pardon power to protect the innocent people who Trump could target with bogus prosecutions. And they include, right, not only the people that we talked about, but they also want to do retired members of the military, talking about, I guess that would include retired military members or whatever. And then they even include some of these people here. Jack Smith, he should do it to Jack Smith. He should do it to James Comey, Alvin Bragg, Mark Miley, Hillary Clinton, and a whole list of people. And of course, they include Liz Cheney, Adam Kissinger, and all of that. So they want to circumvent everything. And again, we're not supposed to be pardoning potential offenses according to the law. They're supposed to be offenses and offenses only. That's why I think we should definitely take this to the Supreme Court. That's the way that Donald Trump can push back on that. But then they also entertain this idea. As for Senate, its first and most urgent responsibility is to act as a judicial confirmation machine before the next Congress begins on January 3rd, working night and day, they say, to fill every federal judiciary vacancy for the district and appeals courts. They've already confirmed a slew of Biden-nominated judges, and they are confirming more, but the pace is still too slow. And then they go on to expand how this is going to benefit them, right? And I want you to understand, the judicial system is being politicized and weaponized. And they admit that here. The judicial appointees are particularly important to ensure the legal system can be used after Trump's inauguration on January 20th to impede maneuvers by Trump and his cronies to bypass laws and convention. They're admitting, blanket admission, that these judges are weaponized against Trump. This should immediately disqualify all of them who are being appointed. They're supposed to be neutral, and it doesn't sound like they're neutral. It sounds like they're being controlled, right? And then there's this last little statement. The Senate can also act immediately to oppose Trump's nominees, which they're trying to do right now, and raise alarm over White House officials. So in other words, they're telling all their people to not appoint any of his nominees. That's why there's such controversy that came out of nowhere with Matt Gaetz and now Pete Hegseth. Let me tell you something. Any Republican who votes against any of the nominees, any of them, should be primaried out. I tell you what, I'm going to do everything in my power to primary those people out. And I've heard the likes of Dan Bongino and multiple others, I believe it was Charlie Kirk and many others, talking about doing the exact same thing. We will make sure that we do everything in our power to get them primaried out. All of the people that Donald Trump picked should be elected into office, should be cabinet members. And here's a blanket reason why. Because never, do you know how many Democrats opposed Joe Biden's cabinet picks? Zero. None of them. They all made it. Zero opposition. But no. The Republicans are now talking about, the rhinos, about actually denying Trump's pick. There's something wrong with this picture, isn't it? They need to be primaried out, and now is a good time to do that. Anyhow, so much information to share with you. I think the good news is I think Donald Trump can supersede and circumvent some of this with some acts that he can take when he gets in office. So I don't think it's going to be a full handcuff, but they're definitely trying. And they're definitely making things harder for Donald Trump and his administration. But good news is he's got good cabinet members to get in there, and we're going to push back. But as a quick reminder, please don't forget to check out my sponsor, Noble Gold Investments, by going to lisahavengold.com. As you know, gold has been at an all-time high for quite a while, even silver. Silver has been one of those things that they're using in a lot of these solar panels, and that silver pace is required to do that. So right now, silver has been really good. I want to encourage you to talk to somebody about your investments, because you never know how the economy is going to land. And by the way, you really want to diversify and get gold and silver in your pocket. If you want to get gold and silver sent to your home, you can do that by calling 1-877-646-5347. Talk to one of their specialists at Noble Gold Investments. Let them know Lisa Haven sent you, because they are giving away up to 10 of these silver Trump coins that you see on the screen here. They're 1 ounce, up to 10 of them with any approved plan, or even a 10 ounce silver American flag bar with qualified accounts. But bottom line, fill out this information, get your free guide on gold and silver, and make sure you check that out as well. And by the way, there's always a risk to investing. There's never a guarantee. If you want more information, click that more button if you're on your cell phone, or simply click the link in the description box below. Anyhow, I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.